full threat against Janie. I mean, I knew my upset was that if Carol, no matter what happened, and I wasn't concerned about Carol. I mean, at that point, right. I didn't care what happened to Carol. My main concern was the only thing that really upset me, besides him doing the head thing with Janie, was Janie. But the other part that really upset me was the word assassination. And I asked him, why that word.
All right. Has anyone else in the Jersey Village Police Department ever threatened or made any sort of remark about killing or hurting either Carol or yourself?
No.
Now, in some of the documents I've seen that you turned over, you have sometimes written to Carol's attorneys, kind of giving them background information, getting them up to speed, things like that. Is that a fair statement?
Yep. Yes.
And I'd like to ask you about some people and the nature of your relationships with them. Did you ever talk to a Bruce Copeland?
I think I've talked to him once, maybe twice. Once for sure.
And what context was that?
I don't know. I didn't even know about him. I think I called him one time. I mean, I called him one time and I talked to him. I can't remember what it was about. But I mean, I don't know him. I mean, I had to call him on something, but I don't remember exactly what. I didn't even know he existed, while he was for work.
But there was no confrontation, no problem in that conversation?
I don't think so. Not with me.
How about Jerry Payne? You mentioned Jerry Payne at the beginning of the deposition. What was the substance of your discussions with Jerry Payne?
You've really got to be. The deal with Jerry Payne, the reason I have not gotten paid is because he didn't pay me. My agreement with him was that he was going to pay me for doing the work, I assumed. That was my agreement with him. First of all, that was, reason I don't get paid because nobody pays me. But basically, it just was I didn't hire him. I didn't meet him. I never get to go to the meetings with the attorneys. I'm the one that's,
So have you ever met Jerry Payne in person?
Yes, a couple of times. Basically a couple of times.
Now, what work did you do that he was going to pay you for?
I did the lawsuit. That's the thing is I had the paper. He lived over here. I met with him on July 16th with the documents that I have in this box. He told me to get all the files together. And I did. I got it in a box. I worked very, very hard. And then he wouldn't touch the box. He wouldn't talk to he wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't talk to the box. He wouldn't touch it. It was the incident report. It was just basic, Jersey Village. It wasn't anything else. And he demanded I bring it and gave me a time, and I worked very hard. And he didn't touch it. Very difficult man to figure out.
When you said you did the lawsuit, the first petition in state court, who prepared it? Did he prepare that?
No, the first one in state court, I typed it. I didn't type it. Letty Cruz, her attorney, in the family case, had a paralegal named Letty. I don't know her last name.
But I mean, who came up with the words? You did.
No, I didn't. It came off a computer. Hold on. I sat on the back of a computer.
Right, but somebody had to decide how to tell.
No, she sat at the computer. I sat behind her. And she spoke Mexican. I went to miscellaneous. We had no clue. I swear to God, I had no clue. I sat behind her, and we went through the questions, and I said, put that in there.
Okay.
That's it. That's it. I mean, there was no magic to it. I mean, it was really big. Really weird.
What I'm saying is deciding, who should write, which claims you were going to pick out of the pro doc and the dates and the times and the places.
I don't think there were any. I'm saying she sat on the computer and she went through the list. She just went through the list. Didn't even see it, and then she gave me the disc. Okay. I mean, I literally sat behind her. You don't understand. I never saw what you think I saw. She just read off. I said, go to miscellaneous. We had no idea what to do. And it was miscellaneous.
At some point in time, there's no document that exists, In
Right.
early 2003, there's no
Right.
document. Okay, and now
No,
there is.
February 18th, honey, 3:30 p.m. I'm sitting behind a computer with a woman that speaks Spanish, and I'm trying to figure out what she's talking about.
All right, and this
That's
was
what happened.
okay, and so this was your filing of the
February 18th lawsuit.
2003 in the state court.
The February 18th.
Right.
Call it the February 18th lawsuit. You'll be better off.
Okay, the February 18th lawsuit. That one.
The state court one.
I mean, the effort that went into that, was yours. Mm-hmm. I mean, if somebody was going to get paid, it should have been.
Lady didn't get paid, and I didn't get paid. She stayed out after. He called me at 2:00 and said, "I'm not going to file it." And he wrote a note, said 1983, and he didn't have a dictionary, he didn't have anything. He did some auto wreck stuff, and she said, she was a wonderful woman, I love to this day. And she said, I had to sit behind her.
Was this at his
and
office?
literally called off I said, and I don't have a clue about Prodoc, and I don't type, and she just said, I said, go to miscellaneous, because it looked for, and she started calling it out, and because I know the facts of the case.
Sure.
And because I have a unique ability to cut to the chase, which I will say is
and remember.
I have brilliant memory.
Right. So, my question is.
I don't know.
So where
why
was this? Where was this that you?
At Cruz's office, somewhere off the Gulf Freeway.
And Cruz was a
her
lawyer.
family law.
Carol's.
Was she her only family law? No. Cruz was her family law attorney.
Okay.
Who promised to file the lawsuit. I didn't have to.
But it wound up that you filed it pro se, right? Okay.
Wasn't a happy moment. Please understand. I have no idea.
All right. The first amended. Then there was a handwritten petition that was filed, which added some folks and some claims. Do you remember that one? Okay. Who's?
And I think I'm gonna have to object here because you're going into my privilege with Mr. Payne.
No,
Well,
it's not
your privilege. I'm not asking what you said. I'm not talking about you at all.
Mr. Payne, first time I met Mr. Payne, he gave it to us in the car. This is not a lie. And I told Carol, I almost got out of the truck.
Mr. Payne was not your lawyer.
No.
You did not
No, in any way.
Okay. All right.
He handed it to us through the car. We had 20 minutes.
So that was his handwriting.
I have to tell you the story. It was the day that they went to the medical malpractice lawsuits were up, and everybody in Jesus Christ was trying to get their lawsuits in. And he handed me that thing, and I promise you, I said I would never do anything like that again. That she paid counsel. It was, I didn't have to do that. And he handed it in the window, and I told Carol, and I have to write it.
Whose handwriting? Yours? Yours. Okay.
You know it is.
I just want to.
I mean, it's embarrassing because my handwriting is the worst in the world.
You all filed a motion for disgorgement. Do you remember? Do you remember?
I didn't
that?
have anything to do with that.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm going to ask you.
But I've read it.
Okay, you have read it.
I read it.
In it,
I didn't
it says
understand
that Mr. Payne did not do the work on these pleadings.
I will explain that. I had the work. He'd set a standard. The standard would bring me 2 pages. I, being Irish and being who I am, and you've met me, I said what I said, which I won't say here, and I'd give him every piece of paper I had on that issue. And then he'd come back, because he is a brilliant man, unique, brilliant, and he'd give me 1 line. He'd give me like 1 line. Okay. And we would fight over
so the initial
issues.
draft, sorry, I don't mean to talk over. I just got hit.
No, but I mean, the way
you
it
don't have
worked
to put the
was,
hit part on
we argued like crazy. We fought down. I mean, he literally was brilliant at one thing, bringing lots of paper into one sentence, and then we'd have to widen it out, and I fought.
Okay.
We fought.
So you would present a draft. He would edit it.
He would give me an idea that made no sense, and then I would fight with him over that, and then he'd tell me, bring me 2 pages in a brief, and I don't do that. I just have the documents relating to that issue, and so I would have JoJo drive it to his house, and then we'd fight it down. And then he'd bring me a tape. Usually, I prefer the tape. And then he'd write notes. He's one of the old-timey kind of lawyers that does, writes everything out longhand, and he does dictation.
All right.
And then we'd fight over the parts where he'd get wrong. And I have,
And the federal lawsuit?
Honey, that's the only thing we're talking about, yeah.
No, but we talked about the state lawsuit. We talked about...
Well, he didn't have anything to do with the state lawsuit.
Okay. But the federal lawsuit was the one that you guys went back and forth on.
Yeah, we did all the state lawsuit ourselves.
Okay, so the one that you're talking about with going back and forth on was the federal